This movie had no business being as good as it is. Thunderbolts is basically the MCU's version of the Suicide Squad, a team mostly consisting of misfits who don't play well with others. When this skunk-haired lady decides that she needs to scrub her team, they all must come together to unite to deal with a common enemy, all while realizing along the way that friendship is the only superpower they really need. Directed by Jake Schreier, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Thunderbolts is a surprisingly heartfelt film, written by Jonah Callow and Eric Pearson. They're the unsung heroes of this film, and it's surprisingly heartfelt. Seriously, this is a testament of what good writing can do to a villain no one really cared about. So, minor spoilers going forward. This film covers a lot of difficult topics, chief amongst them depression, anxiety, and various forms of mental illness and abuse that people endure. Early in the film, we meet up with Elena, aka the new Black Widow, John Walker, aka Dollar General Captain America, and Ava Starr, aka Ghost. And Bob. Bob's there too. Oh, and Taskmaster, technically, but she pulls a Pete Davidson and gets killed like that. So, yeah, there's there. They're all meant to be scrubbed away as living proof and evidence that the CIA director, Ms. Valentina de Fontaine, she makes a big deal of it, has been overstepping her boundaries. Bucky is trying to be a congressman, although apparently he was a half-term congressman, although I don't know when he was impeached, but anyway, he's trying to hold her accountable, and he's looking for evidence. Oh, and real quick, Red Guardian's there. He's the overly enthusiastic dad that we all need. Bucky does end up capturing this ragtag team of misfits. However, he decides to team with them when they find out that Bob has been manipulated by Valentina, when she finds out that he did survive the Century Project. Now, while Bob technically survived, the Void found a home. And it's pretty obvious to all of us that Bob is in a bit of a Hulk situation, as far as if he goes down too low, well, people are going to get hurt. The team all agrees to go with Bucky and confront Valentina and be presented as proof of her overstepping. However, it's at that point that they run into Bob, or, as he comes to be known, the Century. And he pretty much tanks all of their attacks. Like, it's not even close. It's not great. Valentina even goes so far as to call him a one-man Avengers team, which gives him a bit of a god complex, because, they technically do have a god. The team retreats, and the Void takes over Bob and begins to dismantle New York. It's at this point that Yelena goes into the Void to confront Bob, and this is where I want to really stop and jump into the character aspect of this before we get into the final act, because I think that's really where this movie shines. Yelena does go through a depression arc. She throws herself into her work. She's lonely. After the death of Natasha, she hasn't really even spoken to her father in about a year, so she's kind of just existing. We even see her at one point at the bottom of a bottle, if you know what I mean. She's trying to bury the guilt of the Red Room. She was a kid, but she still carries that guilt with her, that depression with her. The thing is, Natasha, she took the time to grow and become a more fulfilled person. However, we kind of saw Black Widow at the end of that journey as far as coming to terms with what she's done and trying to be a better person. Whereas on the other side, Yelena is still going through that journey. We're just having to be going along with her. And I also think it's perfect that she's confronting her demons as Bob is confronting his, parallel with each other. Now, from the beginning, we can tell that Bob isn't well. But as time goes on, we can begin to tell that Bob suffers from several psychological issues, but they all stem from abuse as a child. We end up seeing the hard moments of him being hurt as a kid, and that, I can imagine that's triggering for some people that may have gone through the same thing. Just as Yelena learns you have to confront your trauma, she runs into the Void to speak with Bob and try to help him through it. While they are side characters, I do want to talk about Bucky and John Walker. Now, while it's clear Bucky is very much a side character in this film, he's very much trying to do the right thing. However, he kind of went through his character arc of his reckoning back during, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He had to learn how to forgive himself. He apologized to a lot of the families of the people that he unalived. So, that said, the fact that he was a side character in this film really does fit. John Walker, on the other hand, I really like him. He does grow as a person. Probably the most unliked character in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier becomes someone that you can understand. Someone who is funny. It's a bit of a comic relief. But also he does have a deeper story in him losing his wife and son because of his depression. Him feeling like he's never enough. So what do? You throw yourself into something that you're good at. In his case, being a soldier. Now, at this point, I want to jump into the final battle of the movie. Now, it's not this big epic climax that destroys half of the city. No, instead, everyone jumps into the Void to find Bob and help him through his demons. When the Void has everyone pinned to the wall, Bob attacks ferociously. Now it's at this point that in most films, he attacks, beats up the Void, wins, end of film, right? That's where most of the time it happens, but not here. That is actually the problem. He's confronting the Void in anger instead of letting go of his depression. I'm not saying it's that easy, but I'm saying that that's what he needs to do in this instance, to not be caught up or destroyed by it. The Void is almost a personification of depression, even saying at one point it'll always be just us. Almost as if it's not an affliction, but it's an actual being trying to drag you down. It's at this point that Yelena grabs Bob and tells him that it's okay. So just Walker, Bucky, Alexei, and Ava all grab Bob and pull him out of his anger and back into the real world, thus containing the Void and saving New York. Which I do want to point out, actually, where the hell were Daredevil and Spider-Man during this incident? I'm just want to know, because New York City, where's the Punisher? I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. The film ends with the New Avengers being, I guess, rebranded? Yeah. And Alexei getting his Wheaties box. However, there's also another end credit scene that pretty much just confirms the Fantastic Four. I'm pretty sure they're going to have like a... I don't know if they're going to make like an arc, or if it's just the four of them that are going to make it into our universe. I'm not quite sure on that one. Now, I think Thunderbolts ends so well because it's an unconventional win, whereas in most films you simply overcome the obstacle. In this film, the way to get the victory is more or less to not fight in this instance. To be consumed by anger, I don't like it, but he said a good quote. CM Punk once said that all that anger in you won't just keep you warm, it'll burn you up. You can't hang on to that anger all the time. You need to let it go at some point. And that's what happens in this film. The unconventional victory is what makes it so good. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It didn't end with the High Evolutionary being destroyed. It ended with them saving all the animals. No Way Home didn't end with Peter just beating the Green Goblin. It ended when he made the hard sacrifice. Thunderbolts, for me, is an 8 out of 10. I don't really have any notes other than I think the one joke that they could have made that would have probably been a problem is if Yelena told Bob, hey big guy, sun's getting real low. I think if she had made that joke, that would have been hilarious, but nonetheless, hopefully the streak continues for the MCU. I hope Fantastic Four is good, and we'll see whatever else we get next. Apparently we're getting Doomsday, I think, next year, right? So, yeah, we'll see how everything goes. Other than that, what did you think of this film? Let us know down below. We greatly appreciate it, and we'll catch y'all next time. We'll see everybody.